We're live, pal.
I was say, where did everybody go? What's going on?
What should I say?
Oh, God. Well, man, hopefully everybody had a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. It was quite nice here, so I hope it was nice everywhere else too, man.
Heck yeah, man. Got our grub on, and, as we like to do, are known to do.
A thing that we do.
Yeah. Man, that's a good one. And my big thing that I did this past week after Thanksgiving shindigging is just basically wearing out Disney Plus. I watched, and I didn't know this until I clicked on it, and I was like, all right, bonus. But the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye dropped on the same day. So I was like, oh, good. I'm in for the long haul. And really, so far, have dug the crap out of it. They keep doing that thing they do, just putting out good stuff, and I can't get enough of it.
Sweet, man. It's I've got my clock ticking on that one because it's not WandaVision, but I like Hawkeye. I like Jeremy Renner. I like Kate Bishop, the character, and I love, like we talked about, I love who they cast to play her. So I'm excited about that.
Oh yeah,
I'm excited about it being. Again, they're not making the Matt Fraction book, but that's what it's based off of, like down to the logo, and I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about it, and just counting. So I think it's on. I think it's 6 episodes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
From what I've heard, it's 6 of them.
I thought that I'd seen that in a commercial or something. So 2 down, we're getting there, man. I'm excited, man.
I'm hoping they'll stick because here, the last was the show Loki. The typical day for new shows to come out had always been Friday, but they switched to Wednesday with Loki and What If. And I'm kind of hoping they stick to that, just because I like it more in the middle of the week. It gives me a chance to get it watched
it's cool.
Before all the spoilers come out.
Yeah, like I said, man, I'm good with it, man. I've seen the sink. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, did you see the sink?" I was like, "Yes, I saw the sink." Guess what? I'm still gonna watch the show. I don't care. It's fine. It's totally fine.
But even down to the title screens of the show, and in the credits, I mean, Matt Fraction is basically credited as a consultant or executive or whatever title they gave him.
I can believe it, man.
And the people that I've seen do reviews are saying that it's pretty close, to what he wrote, and I'm down for it. I dug it heck of a lot, and it's just it's a good one. And it was one of those kind of things going into the show is like, be careful what you wish for, because watching the trailer, I was like, man, I want to see more of that Rogers the Musical, and they waste no time. It's in episode 1. You're like, and you kind of get that feeling of Clint sitting there in the theater, like, oh my God, this is awful. Why am I watching this?
There's an awful lot to it, guys.
So that's part of and there's a ton of comedy in the show like that. So it's like, yeah, man, this is total crap.
Wouldn't it be great? This is just fantasy stuff. Wouldn't it be awesome if they got Matt Damon to play Captain America, the stage play like he did in Thor, where he's doing the stage play for Odin? That'd be awesome.
Part of what's funny is it's the part of the Rogers the Musical where they're doing the Battle of New York thing. The whole time they're singing this song, I can do this all day. So,
oh man.
It's Clint Barton, Hawkeye, in this universe is there in the crowd, so you get like the little kids kind of doing that thing over the shoulder, like, it's him, he's over there, and he's kind of like, and he's got his kids with him, and he's saying something to his daughter, like, I was there. Who wasn't there? That freaking guy up there, and it's right for Ant-Man's big appearance come dancing out. It's like but it's kind of it was apparently one review I saw that was like a tip of the cap to the first Avengers team is you put Ant-Man out there, but he's like that guy wasn't even there. so piss on this musical.
All right, kids, gather around. Let me tell you what's bullshit.
Yes. But it's a good one. I've been watching a lot of the reviews of it, and it's been getting good reviews, even down to like of course, it's a Marvel show, so everybody's gonna be like, "Oh man, is this how they're gonna bring this guy in? Is this how they're gonna bring that person in?" So it's the big rumor flying around. Part of me hopes it's true, but it's what they're building up to is everybody's thinking, "So, well, is this how we get Kingpin back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and are they going to have the same Vincent D'Onofrio playing? Maybe not, but that's what I'm looking forward to if that happens.
It'd be great. I thought he was far and away the best thing about Daredevil. I shouldn't say, well, yeah, he was the best thing about Daredevil, and what's his face from the Mighty Ducks that played Foggy Nelson was fantastic. He was
I can see the guy's face. I can't think of his name.
Eldon something. I just can't ever think of it. He was so good as Foggy. I love that character, man. In general, I know we talked about it, man. The Netflix Daredevil was, I don't know. It's okay. It wasn't really my thing. I guess it's really stupid, but it's like doing the Fantastic Four where you focus too much on Reed. It's just a preference thing. All of my favorite Fantastic Four stories, Sue's the star. And all of my favorite Daredevil books, man, the fact that Matt is a Catholic is a huge deal. And if you don't want to do that, I understand. That's what I like. So I'm thinking that, I don't know. I think maybe that's why. It's just there's tons of Daredevil stories that are real good that aren't necessarily my thing. And that's just kind of how I felt about the show. But yeah, the Kingpin was nuts. He was so good, man.
Yeah, man. But it just feels like it's going to be one of those fun ones where it's going to be fun to see where it's going, and there's just all kind of neat stuff happening where we're introducing and developing the Kate Bishop character, and it just feels like everybody she comes into contact with is like, even her mother. It's like, I don't know if this person's on the up and up. I don't know if we can trust this person. And you have the stepdad coming in, and they're pretty beating you over the head with, this is a guy that not be trusted. So I'm looking forward to where it goes and checking it out, and I'm in for the long haul on that one.
It's quite good, man. I'm looking forward to the turnover and then checking it out. Like you said, man, I gotta catch up with Loki too because I haven't watched that one yet. I'm behind on all of them, man.
Man.
I haven't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier. I haven't seen What If. Just anything anything before or after WandaVision, I haven't seen them because I was supposed to do some catching up with WandaVision, and I just got hooked on it and watched it over and over again, and my free trial ended it.
Yeah, man.
So I gotta swallow Loki and then hit Hawkeye, and then we'll see. If there's anything else, maybe I'll work it in. I'm really weird about Falcon Winter Soldier. I would love to watch it because I love Anthony Mackie being Captain America, but I just don't know if that show. I don't know. I just haven't decided yet. We'll get there.
I think there's enough good in it. It's worth at least look. It's not one that I could say like, oh man, you're gonna want to watch it at least once, twice a year. I don't know if it's that, but it's definitely worth a look at.
Yeah, very cool, man.
And that's of all these movies that have come out and I've seen, I've gotten so far behind with the Eternals. I'm kind of like, well, I guess I'll just wait for Disney Plus on that one. Just from everything I've heard about it, it's if there's been one, it's like, that's a red boxer. It's the Disney Pluser. So once I see that, I can put me back in the column of having seen pretty much everything.
Yeah, man, that one's not blowing my hair back either.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi I'm kind of interested in, but It's I should. I mean, it's got people in it that I really like, but I don't know, man. It's just
I,
I don't know. We'll
I,
see.
I understand some of the criticism people had of Shang-Chi, but it was still good and still fun,
Very
you know,
cool.
to watch. So it's at the same time I can't say like, oh man, you've got to go see it on the big screen. It's not the same without being on the big screen, because I think it's already on Disney Plus anyway, which made me think like, well, if they're putting these out as quick as they are, then I can wait a few more weeks and I'll get to see it.
Yeah, I can dig that, man.
The big thing that I've heard about Eternals from a lot of people that saw it said, if there's any one of these movies that should have been a series, it was that one. They said just way too many characters. So I'm like, okay, from the people I heard say that, I was like, okay, I can wait.
Yeah, yeah, I can dig that, man. It's Dune. It's David Lynch's Dune of the Marvel universe. They should have done 3, but
Yeah.
yeah, the thing I keep thinking that Eternals is going to wind up. I don't know because I haven't seen it. There's nothing to root this in, but it seems to me that Eternals is going to be one they're going to go Age of Ultron on.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it. I'm proud to say we talked about it at the time, because I remember telling anybody that would listen, you will come to there will come a day in this series where Wanda Maximoff will A, be your favorite character, and B, will be the most important character. You will come back to Age of Ultron when that happens. And that's what everybody did. And you don't hear anyone complaining about it anymore. And I'm like, good, because it was not nearly as bad as people thought it was. And so that makes me happy. And maybe Eternals will have like a storyline in it or a thread or something where once it's revealed down here, we can go back and be like, oh my God. And then we'll all freak out about that one too, man.
Yeah.
Because now all the Avengers stuff, there is no weak one. No one disses any of them anymore, man. Because the first one's the first one, and Age of Ultron was never as I didn't think it was ever as bad as people said it was. But to be fair, my bias was that you had Wanda in it, and I loved that character. I always have. So I was so happy to see her in a movie that I was very much biased. Uh, I was always going to like it because it's the Scarlet Witch running around on screen with Vision, and I'm like, boy, howdy, we're getting into some cool stuff here, man.
Heck yeah, man. But that was my other Disney Plus thing I had to check out was and this is another one that I didn't realize how long it was going to be until I clicked it. I was like, oh well, I'm here. Was the Beatles Get Back. And
Last Dance, the Beatles, The Last Dance.
oh yes, yeah, and I guess my thing first and foremost, right off the bat, is okay. So you had the way it's getting advertised is like Peter Jackson uncovered all this footage, and I'm like, y'all, this and another thing, it's Beatles Get Back Part 1, another effing trilogy from Peter Jackson, but. How in the world does he get credit for directing this? I mean, what are you really directing? A lot of this footage that's in just part 1, we've already seen. It was straight up in the Beatles anthology.
It's the rooftop concert at Abbey Road. That's what all that stuff is. I'm totally with you. It's this again. I make the last dance joke for a reason, because it's literally, that's been my whole thing. It's, oh man, are you gonna watch Get Back? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, I didn't need to see Michael Jordan kiss his own ass for 10 hours. I don't need to see McCartney do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what's up. We have to chop this thing to try to make McCartney not look like a dick, because you're gonna find out that's who broke the Beatles up. Lennon and McCartney got a divorce. That's the reason the Beatles broke up.
Yeah.
And if you have any footage of Paul and George Harrison hanging out, throw that in the dung heap, because man, George is a sweetheart and McCartney hated him. And I'm getting sidetracked, especially for something I haven't seen, but it's like, that's why that footage has been buried for so long, because Paul looks like a prick, because he was in 1969 or whenever they were doing that stuff. But yeah, it's like the singing on the roof at Abbey Road, everybody has seen footage of that. It's like, I'm with you. It's like, oh man, from Peter Jackson. Why? He chopped it and put it in a new order? It's like giving ESPN credit for The Last Dance. That footage is 30 years old, man. It's like, y'all are crazy.
So and essentially that's kind of My initial review of part one was, man, this to me, any movie, documentary, doesn't matter, but anything about the making of a movie, an album, whatever it is, it's just exhausting to watch. It really is. But my initial review was, man, this is boring, and boring's too harsh a word. It's just exhausting to me to see. It's they're working on a lot of songs that I really like, but it's a start and stop. It's still working it out. It's a and there is a little bit of a kind of a fast forward on the anthology to kick it off, because it kind of gets you to where they're at in this part of their life, and it kind of picks up. It's 1969. They haven't toured in 2 years. They've all got more money than they know what to do with, and they are all pretty insufferable from
Oh, dude,
from what I've seen, from what we've seen so far.
they were all, dude, it's the freaking Let It Be sessions.
Yeah.
They all were miserable as shit. They all hated each other. It's like, look, I know, like the rest of the world, I too wish that Peter Jackson could get in his time machine and record the Abbey Road sessions. Everybody wishes you could see the Abbey Road session, because the Abbey Road session is the other side of what this movie is, because they got together and recorded Let It Be and all fucking hated each other so much. It's why that record is so bad.
Yeah.
They threw that thing in a box for over a year. They got together, they recorded Abbey Road, and they knew it was the last one. And it's why that record is so nice and fun, because everyone was in a good mood. And it's like, yeah, man, one more for the road. Let's go out on a high note. And they all did, and they all had a really nice, fun time. And then Let It Be was released in 1970. Those guys didn't even want to release that album. They hated it so much. But I'm supposed to watch a documentary about them recording it.
Yeah.
It's like the most miserable recording session of all time, according to all four of them, man. I'm like, oh my God, the only person that's ever had a good thing to say is Billy Preston. And the
Yeah.
point is, when Billy came in, I think it was Paul that talked about it in the anthology, that having Billy Preston come in was the saving grace of that entire recording process, because it made us kind of get on our best behavior. And said, Billy's an awesome dude, and we all had fun playing with him because he's so good. But we're not just sniping each other or being we just weren't being dicks to each other finally. And so that was the nice stuff. And I'm like, oh, I can see that's a good story, man. That's cool.
Man, it's I was surprised how, at least from what we've seen so far, how well Yoko comes off. But and it is it's the part one is like 2 hours 30 minutes, something like that. So you have the sessions have begun. George is there. He's got his Krishna guys over here in the corner. It's kind of like, what the heck is that? You have John and Paul, bickering with each other, and Ringo is like, I just want to go off and make movies. And so you get to about 2 hour and 10 minutes, and then George splits, and that's when Yoko gets to, and that's the other thing too that happens throughout this the whole 2.5 hours of this. It seems like it's every member of the band is trying to get their turn on the drums. Everybody gets their turn on Ringo's set, and so George splits. And that's when Yoko takes it upon herself to start doing her caterwauling. They don't say this in the documentary, but that's when Ringo's like, I'm out. And there's a little disclaimer that pops up at the end of part one, where the Beatles meet at Ringo's home to try to talk George back into coming, and the thing is, it does not go well. So that's where we end off after part one. It's like, well, I can't see this really taking a good swing, but it's, man, they honest to God, there's some straight up, even a band like the Beatles, there is some straight up Spinal Tap stuff going on in this one. There's this, they get a visit from the record company, and it's the guy coming down, and apparently this was and it puts into perspective just how long ago this was and how this wasn't a big thing. But the sheet music business is kicking off, and the record company guys coming down to visit with the guys about putting the Beatles catalog in stores for piano people and guitar people to buy, and just that was just, and of course they're all kind of sitting around doing this number, kind of like, well, whatever. But I just thought that for some reason I just found that interesting as crap, and just thought, man, that wasn't a thing yet. And then, so, and this, the other thing is towards, and this might be another part of George is like, I'm out of here. Is they're getting together. They're gonna the big crust of the filming of this is they're building towards what was going to be a TV show, which is what I think was. They're like, well, let's just do the rooftop thing. But they're going to film themselves playing live in front of this. They're going to fill the studio they're in with like 300 people or whatever it is. They're honest to God. This is no bullshit. They're having these conversations. And it's Paul all up his own ass. Like, how about we have everybody come in and we're going to perform this concert. They should come with a ticket to like a vacation. And they're wanting to get on like they were going to do the Chris Jericho cruise and take him to God knows where. And I think it's Ringo that chimes in, was like, where are you going to get an ocean liner in 2 days or 2 weeks or whatever it is? And John being all up his own ass, it's like, well, they'll give us a boat just for the publicity they'll get from us doing this. Like, this is some straight up Spinal Tap shit. It's like, you could not script this anymore. They were just all seemed to be really hard to get along with, and was way beyond what, like. And I was never a Beatle, but I think they really bought that bullshit of like, we're the single greatest band in the history of the world, and who wouldn't want to come and just on a whim coming to see a concert? Oh, by the way, we're going to take you on a cruise right now.
Something I think is very interesting about, we're going to do a television special with the Beatles in 1969, 10 to 11 months after Elvis did the same fucking thing. Tell me that we're going to have 300 people in the studio and we're going to play live. Yeah, that revolutionary. Wow.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. They all wanted to be Elvis, and I get that. And I pick on Paul all the time because I think Paul McCartney's the most pretentious prick that I've ever seen in my life. And John Lennon is right there with him. But there's a difference, and the difference is that McCartney lorded his talent over everybody, and it pissed him off when other people had as much or more. It's why him and Lennon never really got along. I mean, that's the whole thing about, they were great friends for years. Everything we know about the Beatles as far as recording goes took place in 5 years. They were only together like making records from like 64 to 69. That was it. Well, 64 to 68, really. No, 69. They recorded "Let It Be" in 1969. But
it's hard to believe that much stuff got pressed in that amount of time.
It's totally. It seems like we're thinking like the Rolling Stones, but it's like when you actually look back over it, it's like, holy crap, man! These dudes just got it done real fast. But I have always thought, and I'll stand by it, that Paul's thing with George was that you can't big time John Lennon. A, he's John Lennon, and B, the biggest problem as far as the bedrock of that band has always been that McCartney asked Lennon to join. And John always had that over him. I say in that regard, John Lennon's like Isaiah Thomas. The reason Michael Jordan hates Isaiah Thomas so much is because Isaiah's got 2 rings that he can show to Michael anytime he wants to and be like, till the league stepped in and said we couldn't play you anymore, you wouldn't have got any. But I still got 2. I still got 2 that I went through your ass to get, and it drives Michael crazy. McCartney's the same way about John Lennon, because forever John could always be like, "You the one that asked me, brother. Talk all you want, all that genius shit. Go play, Let It Be and all your little silly love songs. You asked me to join. I'm the one that you came to," and it always drove him crazy, and it's the reason he picked on George as much as he did. And the reason George drove him crazy is because the second the Beatles are done recording and Apple Records puts out All Things Must Pass, it is the solo Beatle album that George would never, or that Paul would never reach, that John would never reach, and it drove McCartney absolutely crazy, and insult to injury. When Elvis started playing in Las Vegas, what Beatles song did he cover? It wasn't Yesterday. It wasn't Let It Be. It was something. Drove him up the wall. I guarantee you, he loses sleep over that to this day. The fact that he picked George Harrison's song, because if you tell me that George didn't pick up the phone at least half a dozen times over the course of their lifetime, be like, "Hey, Paul, did you hear the King covering my song?" I'd be surprised if that didn't happen. But yeah, I've heard forever. That's the thing about that footage, is that it's just McCartney being a complete horse's ass to jump. That's why George left. And Ringo, he might have gotten sick of Yoko, but I've always heard he left in solidarity with George. That was the whole point. Was just like you said, he invites everybody in the house. Ringo was the grown up. He was the oldest dude in the band. He was the coolest guy in the band, and he's just like, "Yeah, this is ridiculous. Come on, man." As far as I know.
And talking more like what you're saying, it always felt not so much amongst the other three, but definitely from Paul, that Ringo never got over being the new guy. He was like the Jason Newsted of the group. He's like, "Y'all, I've been around long enough to not be the new guy. So piss on all y'all. I'm gonna go make movies." And there for a short period of time, at least in the interim after the band broke up, I think he was one of the more successful of the three, as far as record sales go. I think that's changed over the years, but there for a little bit he was. So
two things with that. One, he's Ringo and he's fun and he surrounded himself with all stars, and that was all good. But the main thing with Ringo is that, once the Beatles weren't a thing anymore, that was the guy you wanted to hang out with. Ringo was the cool one. Ringo was the cool one. John was way too far up his own ass. McCartney's always been an insufferable shit, and George didn't have time for it. Ringo was always the cool one, man. He was the one that people enjoyed the company of, including the other Beatles. Because, there's, when you look at the solo albums, Paul didn't play on George's records. George didn't play on John's records. But Ringo played on all of them's records, man. It's like that's all you really need to know, man. Even they knew. Even he was even their favorite. For real, man. But nah, Ringo went off and made a movie and got a huge paycheck and married a Bond girl, and it's all like, I don't need this junk, guys. I'm doing just fine over here, man.
Yeah, and I think that there's even a comment that gets made, and I don't know how close this came to happening or whatever, but so George, then it's as the movie is going on, it's Xing off the days on the calendar. That it starts on like December 2nd or whatever, and they have like till the middle of December when this show is supposed to air, and it's Xing off the days, and so George splits, and they're kind of like, I think it's Lennon that says something about, like, well, if he doesn't come back by Tuesday, we'll get clapped in. It's like, okay, yeah, because you can just do that.
Yeah.
But it's a neat thing early on in the documentary and them sitting around talking. I mean, George is already talking about, like, man, I went to see Ray Charles, and Ray Charles has got this organ player that, man, Ray doesn't even try to play the organ anymore because Billy is up there just
killing it,
next level,
killing it.
and you could just see right there in that moment, they're like filing that away. Like, okay, well, we'll give him a call, we'll bring him in, and it's you are seen some of like the other clips of stuff to come, and we've seen the footage from the anthology of like he shows up and just everybody acts right in front of company.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah,
and especially when it's somebody great. Like that. That's
it was like great. That was one of my favorite. I'm pretty sure it was McCartney that was telling that story. And like I'm hard on Paul because I don't like him, but he's written some unbelievable songs that I really love. And he was great. He was awesome telling that story because he's the one like not ratting them out, but telling the truth of like, dude, we were all pricks. We were miserable, terrible. We were awful to each other. We were awful to everybody. But like you said, you're absolutely right. It's like, well, Billy coming in, we stood up a little straighter and behaved and weren't complete jerks. And we had, more fun recording those two songs than, well, Yeah, Don't Let Me Down's not on the album, but I'm pretty sure that was the time they recorded it because that's Billy playing the
Yeah,
organ. So I'm sure
yeah.
I think that's one of the ones
They're working it out.
yeah, that's one of the ones they're playing on the rooftop. I'm pretty sure. But interestingly enough, man, and I think most people would have like Let It Be lower on their list of Beatle albums. I certainly do. But that was my thing with seeing the ads for that. It doesn't really make me want to watch the movie, but I did listen to the album again, and
Mhm.
it's not great, but it's the Beatles, and there are great things on it. Um, oh shoot, there are two on there, well, actually three, that I particularly like. Dig a Pony is awesome. I love that one. If you
Yeah.
like John Lennon's voice as much as I do, you'll dig that song because he just kills that one. Um, and then like the huge stuff, like Get Back is freaking awesome. That song
Mhm.
is just nasty, and I think it's cool. It's very with the Pink Floyd had the album called Metal, like metal,
Mhm.
like Merkerbat. It's I always say it like Metal, but it's Meddle, metal, that kind of stuff. They had that album, and the last song on that album was One of These Days, and it's very interesting because that was the last album they put out before Dark Side of the Moon, and in a lot of ways One of These Days is like it feels almost like track -1 of Dark Side of the Moon. And I understand that it's completely wrong when you look as far as when they were actually released, but for when they were recorded, Get Back feels like track -1 of Abbey Road because it just
Yeah.
sounds like them playing a rock and roll song and having a good time. And maybe I don't know if they did or not, but the Billy story, like, oh, Billy was around for that one. We were in a good mood.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Matt. I like to pretend that that's where the idea of like, man, let's just make a rock and roll record and call it a day. And then you get Abbey Road, which is, I mean, that record is pretty much untouchable from the beginning to the end. I don't have a favorite Beatles album, but that one's if I'm ranking them, that one's way up there.
Heck yeah, man. I'm, I've made the decision. I'm going to stick with it. But uh, definitely, I mean, there's just some parts of uh, part one where I found myself just okay. I'll play on my phone for a little bit and I'll have it on and I'm kind of peeking up. But so I feel like I've seen enough of it. But I think probably what will end up making me do is like, man, I just need to go watch the anthology again.
That's something else about it that I'm really happy about is that it's like, man, I never did buy a copy of the anthology, man. You might should do that. So
Uh,
unfortunately my expensive DVD box sets are piling up because I'm like, well, you can see if you can find a copy of the Beatles
yeah,
anthology and hey, you need a copy of I started watching Ken Burns Jazz is on YouTube, not all of it. There's like when you
mm,
get to basically the Miles stuff and like chapter 7 and chapter 8 those aren't there because Columbia
yeah.
Records will sue you into oblivion, but the rest
Oh
of it's
yes,
there. The rest of
yeah.
it's on there, so it's like, okay, there's still lots of good stuff to listen to here. This is cool.
I as far as the DVDs, I have owned a copy of it at one time. Now the CDs I'll have and hang on to, but the good thing is, I mean, I'm still one of those old crazy people that has to have my Blu-ray and DVD hard copy, and uh, people are getting rid of them, so they're definitely out there and gettable and cheaper,
Yeah,
way cheaper than they were back in the day. But
that's
I had a copy of it. It was one of those kind of things like, oh man, I'll get rid of this, and been kicking myself ever since. So I'll eventually replace it, but definitely I think that it makes me want to just go back and start with that one again and just check it out.
I totally agree. That's and I'm with you on. Excuse me. I love people dumping their DVDs because I'll take them. I'm
Yeah.
100% with you. I love getting cheap DVD box sets, and it's why the freaking PBS. Oh darn, it's WGBH is the huge public broadcaster in Boston. I think it's the biggest one in the country. WGBH and the BBC did a documentary just called Rock and Roll when we were in
Yeah.
high school. This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen, and you can't
Mhm.
get a copy of it. It's just it doesn't exist. I think I've always told myself if I go to England, I'm going to buy a Region 2 DVD player as a gift And then the two things I'm buying myself are a copy of Rock and Roll and a copy of Flowers, which I think I mentioned was back on Netflix. I think it's back now. That show was awesome, and it's weird because I flipped. I liked season 1 and I loved season 2, and then I watched it back, and it's like no, season 1. This is the one that two's good, but season 1's amazing. Anyway, those are the things I'm buying because unfortunately, every copy apparently of Rock and Roll that has ever been sold in this country is the Time Life edited version. And boy, howdy, when I tell you it's not the same, it's not the same. Because the thing with WGBH is they literally, the BBC made it and WGBH broadcast it. And one of the things about England in general, when it comes to music, particularly rock and roll, is it's not kid stuff to them, man. They have always taken it seriously. It's why punk rock in England is so different than it is here. Because in punk rock here is, yeah, man, let me get a clothespin through my nose and a leather jacket. Yeah. The politics are everything about punk rock in England. And it's because, 17-year-olds aren't supposed to care about stuff like that. It's just different. The cultures are very different. So looking at rock and roll, going back to the very beginning of it, they take it seriously and it's freaking awesome. It's just totally awesome. So I love that documentary. But anyway, I guess the point I'm making about that is I was hoping to get cheap copies of that, but they don't exist. At least maybe with the Beatles anthology, I can get myself a cheap copy of it because I'm just with you. It was nice. It was fun to see footage of them again, but it was exactly like you were saying. I'm just like, man, this reminds me of the anthology. Man, you really should get a copy of that. So that's what I'll do.
Now that's 10 hours of watching I can get behind when it comes to those guys.
I sink my teeth into that, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I still and Michael Lindsay Hogg is the guy that shot all that footage back in the day, and he's did all kind of stuff with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and it's still around when as at least according to Google, and that was just one of the things that kind of left me with. I've been watching a few interviews that Peter Jackson did about this documentary, and I guess if there's one thing that you can say that he did as far as taking it and improving it is apparently the sound is a lot better. I haven't gone back and watched the anthology yet to compare it, but apparently he developed this. Well, I can't say he developed it, but the people at Weta that worked for him developed a way to take, because that's all the guys had back in the day was camera, microphone. And they were able to take a mono track and take out the vocals and take out the guitar and make it sound more stereo, which is, to me seems impossible, but they found a way to do it. And there's parts of the documentary apparently maybe there was some of it in part 1 that I didn't realize what I was watching yet, and where there was just parts of them talking to each other that they would just strum the guitar because they knew they were being recorded and wanted to have a conversation that you could never hear apparently back in the day. So I guess you can give him credit for that, but still at the same time, like a directing credit. I don't know. Maybe you're an editor.
Nah, that was part of my thing too when I first saw the ad for it. They're putting Peter Jackson on there to get people's attention. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's The Last Dance. If you give Steven Spielberg credit on The Last Dance, more people would have noticed. So it's like, come on, man, this is found footage, and good on you for restoring it. That's cool. But when Scorsese did the exact same thing with all those old celluloid reels that he found that were literally like eating themselves, and he took them and he restored them and he saved them. He didn't get a director's credit for that.
Yeah.
But I just it just felt like marketing, and that's okay. It's okay to market stuff, but we'll call it how we see it.
Another freaking trilogy from this guy, Jesus.
Dude, I like Peter. I'm not dissing Peter, but you know what? Sometimes you need to know when to wind it down, because what the fuck has he touched since Lord of the Rings that was worth half a shit? Because King Kong sucked and The Hobbit sucked. So it's like his name, like I said, like you're talking about as far as like, well, he developed this technology where you can do this to the sound. It's like, that sounds like Lucas to me, because as I've said, and I'll stand by it, Disney did not pay George Lucas the bajillion dollars they paid him for Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars is huge, but they didn't care about that. What they paid him for was that green screen bullshit he did in the prequels, because that is the greatest deepfake technology that has ever been come up with. So whenever you start seeing, over the next 5 to 10 years, when you start seeing politicians having conversations that they probably never had, but we want to take care of this guy, that's George Lucas. That's what you pay for. That's what that's what that dude is. But there's a reason that Lucas is not acting like Papa John over what's going on with Star Wars now. Because it's all like, we're giving you this and we're buying this, and you will never say a word to anyone about anything ever again, because you will disappear if you do. I'm convinced that that's true. I totally believe it. Because again, whenever you see the interviews with like Liam Neeson and people like that, and they go and they watch the prequels, and it's like, I never said that. That's not a scene. That was not in the script. What are you talking about? It's like, oh yeah, we were able to, digitally manipulate, and that's all you had to hear. And it's like, yeah, that's really useful for political assassinations, for political ruination, for business, hostile takeovers and whatnot. Dude, deep fakes. That's the greatest thing you could do, because it's ridiculous, but that's what's up. So if Peter Jackson has developed basically the sound version of, digital deep fakes, yeah, it makes sense why he's still a big deal, because God knows it's not him raking the money in. I mean, I get The Hobbit made a lot of money, but it sucked. It sucked. Everyone knows it sucks.
Yeah, and that's one thing I can say is there have been Peter Jackson trilogies, and The Hobbit was one of them. Was after the first one, I was like, I think I'm done. I'm done. But this one I'm going to stick around. I'll see it through, because he's already pretty much said in interviews is the last 45 minutes is what this is all building to, is the rooftop, concert, which is what everybody wants to see.
That's all anyone's here for. Exactly. I don't need to beat each other up for the first 2 episodes, man. Let's just do that.
hit fast forward. skip. Ringo's talking. Oh, skip.
Yeah, it really, I keep making the joke, but it really does. It reminds me of The Last Dance. And I get it. The Last Dance, we're firing Phil, and Mike's leaving. It's the last dance. Oh my God. And Michael hits the game-winning shot in 98. I know we all wish there was documentary footage from 1996. It's the best team there's ever been. I know we wish it was there. 98's as close as you can get, so I'll take what we can get. I swear it's the same thing with this. It's like all of us wish that somebody had recorded the Abbey Road sessions. We all do. Okay. It's a bummer, man. Downright bummer.
Man, that's where I'm at so far on that one, but I don't know. I had some fun foosball over the weekend that was at least tons of fun for me.
There was good stuff this weekend, man. It was I think illuminating weekend in a couple of regards, and also the way that, gosh, I'm sorry, y'all, the way that the conference championships, because the man can tell you, and y'all might know if you've heard us talk before. I used to love college football. I used to be among the biggest college football fans that I know. I used to love it. And my favorite thing about it was this is my favorite thing. I doff my cap to the Southeastern Conference for this every chance I get. Because when the SEC expanded the first time, and they added South Carolina and they added Arkansas, they split the conference in half. They did an Eastern Division and a Western Division, and they come to Atlanta and they have a conference championship game. That is my favorite thing. I just think that's the coolest. I've always loved that, because one of the frustrating things about college football is that really nothing means anything. When you have a playoff field or a bowl field, so a postseason group that's nothing but wild cards, that's kind of boring. What the SEC did was like, everybody in the East is going to play. Everybody in the West is going to play. And when we have the champions of the divisions, we're going to go to Atlanta and they're going to play each other. God, that's exciting. I love it. Conference championships are a big deal to me. And several of the ones are just, it's not exactly the teams I would have picked, but it's like, once you get them, it's like, oh yeah, right on. That's cool, man. So we get Nick Saban versus his Padawan, if you will. And I'm looking forward to that. And I really, really, really hope that Georgia absolutely skins that ass. And I think they will. I mean, I thought Alabama got exposed 2 weeks ago. When you have Gary Danielson on the CBS broadcast being like, I don't know about some of these calls, man. I
Yeah.
don't know about these officials. They went crazy on penalties against Arkansas, and you barely squeaked by them. And it cost you this week because basically they said, we're not doing that shit this week. Too many eyes on us. And Auburn whipped your ass for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
So it's all like, if you're not going to get the yellow hanky squad against Georgia, Georgia will absolutely pick their teeth with you. Now, don't get me wrong. It would not surprise me if I had to bet because I don't bet. If I had to bet, I'd actually bet on Alabama winning the game. And the reason is because then you get Alabama and Georgia both in the playoff.
Yeah.
But if we're actually talking about who's better, it's not that I think Georgia would beat them. I think Georgia will hurt them. So it's like, come on, y'all.
I don't like going into games that confident, but I can't help it.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about playing Alabama as Georgia is this. You're the number one team in the country. You're the best defense people have seen in years, possibly any number of years. And you'll still be the underdog. You can still walk in with your chest out, thumping. I don't give a shit if the line opens. Oh, okay, Alabama. Oh, man, Georgia's a 13-point favorite, which they won't be, but let's pretend they were. Georgia's still going into that game the underdog. Because everyone perceives St. Nick's Alabama teams to be unbeatable. And it's like, we'll find out, won't we?
Yep.
We talked about it a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and it's just that the Georgia team this year, man, are in just that magic spot that every now and again you will see a team like we saw it as Tech fans in 2000 because we played against Miami in our bowl game. I want to say it was the Gator Bowl, but that might not be right. But this is before Miami joined the ACC. They were still Big East then. We played against Miami in 2000. Not 2001, 2000. And man, they absolutely had their fangs out then. And it's like, what are these boys going to be next year? And the best team of all time. The same thing, unfortunately, happened to us against LSU one year. It's such a great season. It's awesome. Won games we shouldn't have won. Played great. It's awesome. Got a Peach Bowl bid. Yeah, we're going to play LSU. It's all good. And LSU had lost 4 games that year. LSU had also had a rash of injuries all year. I wish I could tell y'all what year this was. I think it was 08, somewhere in there, maybe 07. I really should know. Man, in the subsequent weeks after the last game of the season to the Peach Bowl, LSU healed up. And, brother, they absolutely skint our faces. They beat the crap out of us, man, and then went on the next year to be I'm pretty sure these were Les's teams. They were elite. They won a national title next year. It's crazy. Sometimes you can see teams on their way up. And with Georgia, it's not seeing them on the way up. It's like, this is it, man, because you get that strange combination of being the most talented team in the country, but you're still hungry. ESPN doesn't have quite your entire ass in their mouth yet, man. It's all like, you're going to talk about me. It's fascinating, man. When you see that guy, it's like Tyson, the first title he won. Everyone knew he was the best fighter in the world, but he hadn't won that belt yet. So he went out there and murdered homie. I can't remember who it was that he just knocked the block off of. But Georgia looks like that. They really do. It's fascinating when you see a team that's that good, but they can't wait to prove it. Man. Say you win 45-0.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, man. And it's crazy. How many shutouts is that for y'all now? I mean, it's like 4 or 5, isn't it? It's a bunch.
I think 4. I want to say
4, man.
That's I don't see it happening Saturday, but I'm really kind of thinking it could, maybe.
Like I said, if Alabama wins again, because the last 2 weeks have exposed them, man. If they ain't got the hanky squad on their side, they're gonna be in trouble. But they will definitely be in trouble against Georgia because Georgia really is that good. They're good, man.
So that was the talk of what's going to happen to the rankings this week, and I could see it being Georgia. Was it? I've already forgot. You have still a top 5 that's Georgia, Alabama, and it's not in order, but Georgia, Alabama, and Michigan.
Yeah, I think Michigan's got to be back in there. It's kind of like it's what Ohio State did last weekend. where when you have Michigan State roll in and you clobber them. That's what Michigan did in this weekend, man. And that's a strange one too, man, because I like Ohio State so much, and of course I would love for them to win. But hating the media as much as I do, and the media hating Jim Harbaugh as much as they do, boy, it's fun. It's fun to have to watch all the media people just back off and shut the fuck up, isn't it? It's hilarious because it's like, oh, Harbaugh got to win over him now, doesn't he? And it's cool too. That's a good one. The Big Ten championship, I'm very excited about because you had Michigan win that the Eastern Division. Excuse me, and it was coming down to where Minnesota, Wisconsin wins, they're in, and that's cool, man. Wisconsin, Michigan, that'd have been a fun game. But my favorite Big Ten team, I do love Ohio State because I got family ties there, but I love Iowa, man. So Iowa having won the West, that is awesome because with Minnesota beating Wisconsin, that puts Iowa in. Man, Iowa versus Michigan is going to be awesome. That's one of the ones I was mentioning earlier about certain title games shaping up for me. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the four that I really care about, they're all exciting, man, because the ACC is going to be Pitt, which is just cool because – it's neat that Pittsburgh joined the ACC. And as far as this season goes, they have just clubbed all of us, man. So that's going to be really cool. And, man, anytime Wake Forest gets any type of postseason representation, that is cool as hell. Is Wake Forest, man. All you got to know about Wake Forest is this. The military academies are like, I think it's 4,400 students. That's it. It's like federal law, 4,400 students. That's all you can have. That's it. So literally how many, like, freshmen you can bring in depends on how many people have dropped out over the course. It's just crazy. Wake Forest is smaller than them. Wake Forest is the smallest for like student population. It's the smallest university in Division One, so that they can field any athletic team that can compete is freaking awesome. So that one's going to be fun. And the Pac-12 is Oregon and Utah, which I watched Oregon and Utah play last week, and it was one-sided, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to all four of these, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this is cool.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
It was a good weekend, man. It was real cool.
Yeah. That's where I was at. Just watching that all weekend.
Well, my sports weekend, a little college football, obviously. And I got caught up with a few of the NFL games today. I've been keeping up with the MLS playoffs because that stuff is quite exciting. And man, Real Salt Lake, it's crazy what they're doing. Crazy because they went to Seattle last week and parked the bus, and it worked because nobody got any goals, and they went to shootout and penalty shootout. You know what? I would feel better just flipping coins, man, because it's luck, and they won, so that's all good. Played Kansas City today. And Kansas City got a goal on them. So it's like, okay, you can't do that this week. And, man, when I tell you Salt Lake put it in gear and scored two, I'm just like, dude, because that's the whole thing. It's like, yeah, can't park the bus this week. And they did not. They were like, fine, we'll go get goals. And they did. So it's like, well, go on, y'all. Congratulations, man. And then I believe, I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that Philadelphia beat Nashville today in a shootout, which I hate penalties. I hate that. And I really was kind of hoping Nashville would win, but I got no problem with Philly, so it's all good. But it's fun. I haven't watched those highlights yet, so I don't know how it really went. But the Salt Lake, Kansas City, Salt Lake, that was fun. It's just impressive, man. Because again, you're the underdog, you're on the road, you're trying to not give anything up, and then you give one up early, and it's like, well, got to go get two now, and they freaking did it. It's like, man, all right, y'all, good on you.
Yeah, man.
I remember what NFL stuff I saw today. The Giants beat the Eagles, which was just it's good for Skip Bayless's Dallas Cowboys. So
yeah.
I love the Cowboys. I pick on Skip all the time, but I think the Cowboys are just so entertaining, man. I love them, and they have a couple of guys on that team that I really do like legitimately pull for too. But for the most part, golly, they're just so much fun, man. The NFL is quite fun actually, and man, what the hell got into Cincinnati today? They were mad as shit, man. So, it's interesting because I like the Browns. I'm enjoying the fact that they're not doing so well right now because Baker Mayfield's just not my guy. I just don't like him. I didn't like him at Oklahoma. I don't like him in Cleveland. He's just not my guy. But the Bengals I enjoy. The Steelers I'm all right with. The Ravens I'm all right with. So, man, that division's fun to keep up with. But 41-3, I was not I was not. I was surprised. I think it was 41-10. I would have said that, but it surprised me. I'm like, jeez, man, we're mad. I'm mad as hell.
It's not gonna take it anymore.
I'm not gonna take it anymore. I was Joe Burrow.
Still mad about having to play here.
It's strange, man, because ESPN tried to make that a thing. They did. They did. Oh, is Joe Burrow going to sign with the Bengals? He might go to the Bengals. It's like, he's an Ohio boy. Oh, man, LSU. He's SEC. Joe Burrow's an Ohio kid. Joe Burrow was a Buckeye until they wouldn't play him. And the coaching staff sat him down, and they said, Joe, we're going to go with, I think it was Justin Fields at the time. Joe, we're going to go with Justin, man. Put your name in the portal. Go somewhere and play. And he went to Baton Rouge, and he played one season, and he won a national title. So good on him. But, man, that was the craziest thing, man. Where I've seen a couple of, like, interviews with him, like print interviews where he's like, I have no idea. It's like, Joe, what's the deal with Cincinnati? Why don't you want to play in Cincinnati, Joe? Why don't you want to go home, Joe? And he's like, I have no idea where this came from. What are y'all talking about? Oh, Joe Burrow doesn't want to play in Cincinnati. And it's like, just because they decided it, okay. But like, Joe was cool with playing with the Bengals, man. Because the thing is this, man. If Joe Burrow really didn't want to play for the Bengals, he would have done an Eli Manning bench fit, wouldn't he? Because Eli got drafted. Eli got drafted by the Chargers. They didn't trade that pick. Eli got drafted by the Chargers. And he crossed his arms and he whined and they traded him. Yeah. Nah, man. If Joe didn't want to be there, he wouldn't be there.
Yeah. That's like playing in.
Shoot, I don't remember what the other. Man, I really can't remember the scores I saw today. I haven't watched all of them. I did watch the Falcons, who thank God got a win. It's like it's Jacksonville, man. Surely to God we can win this one, and they did. So good on them, man.
Yeah, barely. They won.
I'll take it, man. If you can win by a point, that's still a win. I'll take it.
Oh yeah.
This has been a miserable year, man. And you expected it, but it still stinks, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who the other one was that I was excited about was the Patriots winning so big. Because I like the Patriots winning. It makes me happy, man, because I just got so sick of last year. See, it was always Brady. Belichick's overrated. It was Brady, which is crap because they're both really good at their jobs. So I'm glad to see Belichick winning again. But I did see some junk earlier this week about, it was because Cam Newton. Cam Newton's terrible. He was awful. It was Cam Newton. They have like 6 new players on offense, man. You know, the entire offense is 11 guys, right? Whatever, man. But I do feel bad. I feel bad saying that this week because, God, Cam struggled so bad today. I felt bad for him because I like that dude. Newton doesn't bother me. Apparently, people just get mad because he dresses like a pimp at press conference. And I'm like, well, Conor McGregor does that and y'all kiss his ass. So I didn't think it was a problem. But I like Newton. I really would love to see him have some success in Carolina. But, man, he had a rough one today. I hate it for him, man.
Yeah.
I just noticed you got your Dominique Wilkins wear on, man. That's fantastic. You got the Georgia sweatshirt and the Hawks hat. I can't believe it took me that long to point that out.
It's my garb.
Yeah, man. We were talking about expensive DVD box sets earlier today, and I will show you and everybody else. I got I got my birthday gift a little bit early, but I needed to link up with the Barnes & Noble sale. And I'm so happy because I started this, and this is probably on one of the old episodes, maybe. But at one time, excuse me, I had the Criterion DVDs of Chungking Express and In the Mood for Love. And I got really lucky on Chungking because the Blu-ray of that went out of print almost as quickly as it came out. And I'm like, crap. I used to have the DVD, and I sold all my DVDs and traded them out for Blu-rays because I'm a freaking idiot. I never should have done that, but still, I did it. Replaced it, got the Blu-ray. Okay, and I got super lucky because it was it's not Kennesaw. I cannot remember where it was, but it turns out that I found it on eBay for like nothing. I got that thing for like $40, which is shocking. At the time I bought it, it was crazy to get it that cheap. And it turns out it was somebody right down the street. And I'm like, this is awesome. Cool. So I got the DVD. It was great. Then Criterion puts out their little clue. They're doing a box set. And I'm like, if you sell it now, you'll make more money off of it. But if they don't release the box set, you're going to punch yourself in the face. So I sold them, and I got really lucky because I just put them up on eBay together. And fortunately for me, I got two people that really, really wanted Chung King duking it out. So I made tons of money off it. I shouldn't say made tons of money. I did good. Considering it cost me $40, I did real good with what I made off of it. And I put that money away in an account and just let it sit there because I was like, when the box set comes out, get gift cards and then sit on this to take up the slack. So I had a gift card since last Christmas, and I asked for an advancement on my birthday gift, and I got another gift card for that. And then basically it wound up costing me, I think, about $24, which is awesome because I did good. But I wound up with the Criterion Long Car Wide box set. I am thrilled. I haven't opened it yet. That's what all the red paper is, because it's like once I start, it's going to be very hard to come out of the hole. But I am very excited about this because it replaces those two, which is awesome because I gotta have Chungking Express. But also, man, you've got As Tears Go By, which I've never seen, Days of Being Wild, which I've never seen. Chung King is great. Fallen Angels, I love. Happy Together is incredible. In the Mood for Love, I'm set. 2046 is the last one, so there's three I've never even seen. So I am excited about that, and that's what it's doing back here, sitting in the shot. Because I'm happy about it, man. And the next time, if I put it up next time, I probably won't have the red stuff on it. But at the same time, I've got other things I have to finish up first. I try to keep a list in my phone of like, you are watching this, finish this, and I've messed my list up now, man, because I was doing yet another watching of Fleabag, but I can't finish it now because I loaned it to my brother and my sister-in-law because I was talking about it. I'm like, oh crap, okay, yeah, you guys have to watch this, so I have to take that one out of the rotation. And I started Cowboy Bebop, not the live action one because I don't care about that, but the cartoon one is on Netflix, and I started it. And I'm just stuck. I like it, but it's just like I'm not feeling it. No, and it sucks. I hate to be that way, but I don't know. I'll get back there eventually, man. I will. It'll happen. One of these days, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to finish Cowboy Bebop, and then I'll rewatch Firefly, which is a watered down version of Cowboy Bebop, and then I'll watch The Mandalorian, which is a watered down version of Firefly, and it's like I'll have seen all of them. It'll be great.
Heck yeah.
It'll be fantastic.
That's what's up, man.
That is what's up. I think I'm good. I think that's everything to discuss. Appreciate the call. Thank you, man. Y'all, thank you for watching.
Heck yeah, man. That's what's up, man. I'll see y'all.
Take it easy, y'all.
It's just never gonna stop.
Yeah, it's all good. The director's cut.